Hey everyone, we're back and we are just finishing up the last few slides here. Um, couple things, couple terms to know. Crypto religion. Crypto religion describes the ultimate concerns that wear a secular mask. It avoids religious terms and doesn't really think of itself as a religion at all. Patriotism now, particularly in our country right now, is kind of a crypto religion. It's the most important thing. Defending our country. This is something that their whole ultimate concern is, and that is definitely seen in a crypto religious way. Another term to get used to is pseudo religious. These are people who claim to be religious, but their behaviors don't match up. People sing hymns and attend rituals, but don't hold what's being preached um, as their ultimate concern. They wouldn't die for religion. Their real commitments are hidden, they're their own, it doesn't guide their lives. Now, the last little bit here we've got is um, the three types of religions, and this is important as we go through and study the religions that we're going to, is to understand the differences. First of all, I want to talk about the most basic, primitive religion. This doesn't necessarily mean that because it's primitive, that it's crude or simple-minded. It's actually very stable and strong. Think of Native American spirituality as your most quintessential type of primitive religion. African religions would also be characterized in this way. They're very stable and strong and last, thousands of years, as long as they're in isolation, right? When they're shielded from outside ideas and new cultures, they're fine, but those things cause them to crumble. Primitive religions are non evolutionary, they don't change very much. Any change will come as major and dramatic. Um, there are many myths and rituals and superstitions in primitive religions. Um, in today's world, about 10% practice some form of primitive religion. Beliefs are passed on, but usually they're not in some sacred book. There's a lot of oral tradition. They don't have a whole organized system of thought. It's not deep theological books. Um, they don't have this stuff written down. They focus on the relationship with spirits to the dead, and spirits in nature and natural elements. Right, your Native American, shoots a deer and then goes over to it and thanks the deer's spirit for giving up. Um, it's the good of the tribe, say. They're often animists. They believe material objects and non-human creatures have a mind, will, passion, feeling. They also believe in magic, things that they can kind of manipulate. Natural magic, these are charms and omens, putting the entrails of a chicken in a bowl and seeing if it tells the future, or supernatural, right? Magic done by sorcerers or shaman or witches in an effort to manipulate the world and get what they want. So this is primitive religion. Next, we move to something that we're going to be covering a lot of, and that um, is cultural religion. Cultural religion are those tied to a particular civilization. When the civilization rises, the religion rises, and when the civilization falls, it falls. Right? This is Egypt, Mesopotamia. This is Greece. This is Rome. Um, there's a relationship between tradition and power. Right? Um, they appear so the people who are in power are connected to the religion. The pharaoh is the son of Ra, right? And so he takes on the divine status. Now there's huge political advantage there, right? If it appears at every cultural event and it's tied to the success of the pharaoh, then it's going to remind you not to cross me because I am divine or I am connection to the divine. If you want to be good religiously, then you need to be obedient politically. Um, so, so religion supports and protects the power structure and the reverse at the same time. So laws were enacted in the name of the gods, so you had to follow them. And this can happen in crypto religions too. We saw this in Nazi Germany. They talked about the spirit of the fatherland and they used that. Now, these are always going to be connected to their environment. And again, if it rises, it rises, and it falls, it falls. So, um, so you don't often see people in, I don't know, Omaha, Nebraska, like worshiping Zeus, right? That so much of Greek, religion and spirituality has to do with that land. I mean, Olympus and, the parts of the Mediterranean that belong to that, right? So that's cultural religion. We're going to talk a lot more about cultural religion, as we go on. Lastly, you have supercultural religions. These are your modern religions. They tend to transcend cultural bonds. You can be a Buddhist and in a monastery in Tibet or riding on a roller coaster in Southern California, right? You can be a Christian no matter where you are in the world. Same with Islam. Now, instead of a kind of priestly function, doing magic, validating the actions of the culture. Um, in supercultural religions, there's a lot more prophetic function, which critiques or criticizes the culture in the name of higher law. So supercultural religions are not often tied to the power structure. Usually they can be in conflict with it. So there is this so religion has to fight against we see this in the abortion debate where you have governmental belief and then you have religious belief in struggling with that, right? Supercultural religions also are interested in the actual existential needs of the person rather than just cultural preservation. They're interested in human beings and not the group of human beings. There's an emphasis on the internal aspects of religion instead of magic and the outside external understanding. They're looking at morality. This is the first time you'll look at, like, is a person being a good person. It also focuses on the kind of person or the personal decisions that you make rather than what spell, charm, or wizard you might know. The intention, what is a person's intention is emphasized over the correctness of the ritual. And that's it, folks. So I know it's a lot, but it is a major part of this. And if we can kind of define these things and understand these basic concepts, maybe we can look at religion and spirituality in a new way and maybe make it a little more palatable to live with and to understand. So, see ya.